Hello everyone, welcome to the 15th episode of Tech Talks with Santosh, and today we have a very special two guests. So I decided to I wanted to have four guests, but unfortunately we couldn't have another two. But yeah, so I could get Natalia and Anchal here. Thanks a lot, Natalia and Anchal, for joining us today.
Pleasure
Thank you
for
for
all,
inviting.
all us. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll just quickly introduce you to you two, Natalia and Achil. So Natalia, I have been following both from last 2 years. I got the chance to meet Achil twice, and Natalia. We unfortunately couldn't meet till now, like 2 years, but we couldn't meet at least in physical, but we are, of course, we are connected virtually. So Natalia is she's from Uruguay and currently she lives in Barcelona. So I have seen her journey. So she started as a web developer and then now she's a solution architect. So I would love to actually hear about your story, how you started with web development and then went on to solution architect. So yeah, we'll hear more about that. About Anchal. So Anchal is like a graduate in technology specialization in computer science, and she's like speaker for many events. I have seen her giving talks at last year NG India and then NG Sri Lanka, and many more conferences. She's also she started with web development. And she was into Angular. Now she has moved into IoT. So she's working with, I think, PTC, if I'm not wrong, Anchal.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So she's working with PTC and she's now mostly involved in IoT and this technology. So I would love to even hear about that, how she transitioned from like one technology web to another technology, which is like a really different thing. And she keeps writing about her learnings. So you may actually follow her on her. I'll share the link at the end so you can follow her blogs and read more about her blog post, right? So she keeps writing about Angular and other technologies, as far as I know. And she was also invited at University of Toronto. So this is really great. So thanks for joining us, Natalia and Anchal. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thanks, Anton.
Yeah. So so let's go ahead and get started. So first question: how you started in web? So anyone who wants to go first, I mean, it's up to
Anchal,
you.
please go first. I am super curious about your journey.
Okay, I think that's mutual. All right, I'll go first. So, I think my technical journey started very early. I started working on Java when I was in class 9 in my
Oh,
school. So I had Java from class 9. So from there, I get this traction of working on Java and the technology. And then since Java was in school, then I went in college as doing my BTech in computer science, specialization in open source and open technologies. So I got diversified into new technologies and new things. I got to understand cloud and cyber securities and all of those things. So that kept me moving. And then, as a blessing, I got placed in a good company where I started working on server side using Java. And then
oh, that's great.
slowly it transitioned into working on front end where I started working on Angular. And then while I was working on Angular, I got an IoT project to take or handle the front end. And that's how I came into IoT. So then
Wow.
my technology journey just kept on going. So when you enter IoT, it's like a huge platform. Now I'm currently taking charge of augmented reality, data science. So I've
Wow.
just diversified my field. So I feel really passionate towards working in all these technologies.
Wow,
Over
that's
That's
to you,
great.
really
Natalia.
exciting. Yeah, well, my journey was just as dynamic because I really didn't start a career in IT or computer sciences. I went from studying actually architecture, but for buildings. And then I became a designer because I met with computers and I was like, wow, I really like computer generated graphics. And I went the graphic designer route. And I think then moved into web design with all the transition from the printed materials into the digital world, and slowly started playing around with it, initially with ActionScript. Back in the day I started doing flash sites, and then I needed a backend for forms, and then I started into PHP, and then I moved into Drupal, and then eventually I specialize more in the front end, JavaScript and CSS, HTML, and then Angular. But then I guess because I have a long trajectory right now, I'm more into the architecture side, like designing systems and
Mm-hmm.
overviewing its execution, leading teams, and yeah, I really love it. I'm super passionate. To be honest, right now I was working on a svelte form, and I'm like
Oh,
really liking it. So I said I need to do a form, and I need to do it quickly. And I said maybe it's a chance to get more into something new. And I am always trying to learn new stuff. I really enjoy it.
I
oh,
think that's what technology is, that you have to keep on learning new things, whatever is in the market. You just have to keep on going for it.
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, that's a super good advice. You need to always keep yourself
Yeah.
informed and up to date with new trends. Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly. Actually, so you have to be updated, otherwise, like technology is moving really fast, right? I'm sure, Natalia, when you started your journey, you may never have thought JavaScript will be used one day at this scale, right?
No, not at all. I think the first use of JavaScript I ever did was like an alert, and I was like, okay,
Ah,
this is useful to send an alert somewhere. But the actual applications of JavaScript, I don't think anybody ever envisioned JavaScript in the backend, or yeah, in so many other technologies.
yeah.
It's
So,
amazing.
yeah, actually, so that's one thing, right? So, one thing which you are ahead of is like you are always passionate to learn about new things, and you improve your knowledge. You share your knowledge, and this is the one thing which I have actually I admire about you. You, I mean, Achal and Natalia. So I have seen you growing. You have been like talking about the stuffs you learn, right? It's not like you just keep it to yourself. You keep writing about it, you keep talking about it in multiple conferences and meetups. So that's really great. I think this is something many women in tech should actually take it as I mean, maybe take them as a inspiration and then start your journey as well, right? So because we need more women in tech to come ahead and talk about different technologies. I have seen many conferences being cancelled just because there was no women speaker in the lineup, right? So they had to actually go ahead and cancel the this entire conference. So I'd say, okay, just go ahead and try to maybe reach out to Natalia or Anchal and learn from them how you can apply for new maybe talks in conferences or meetups. You can reach out to anyone, right? And then you they will be, of course, will be ready to provide you guidance whatever you need.
Yeah,
Anytime.
I think. Yeah, no, go ahead, Angel, please.
No, that's what I said. That I think whatever we have learned, it is going to be a pleasure to promote it and contribute to the community, especially women. That is going to be our pleasure.
Absolutely, and I think it's a good advice for everyone, not only women, but everyone in tech. That it's very important to learn these skills about communication, about sharing what you know, about standing in public and speaking, because you do that at some point in your career. You're going to have to do that. If it's not in front of a crowd of other developers, it's going to be in front of a client, and
Mhm.
it's very important to not let that behind, that ability to communicate what you know. It's a great skill to have.
So I just want to understand from both of you how much actually public speaking has actually helped you at your own workplaces. I'm sure it may have, but yeah, for just coming from you.
I think from for me, it has been a good ride on experience, because the more public speaking I do, the more confidence I get that I am being understood. And that's where when I reach out to my client, because my work is completely client oriented and I'm more on the client facing. So now I get the feeling, if I can address and make 400 people understand what I'm going to say, I think I can take care of the 10 people going to sit for the customer visits. So I get a huge benefit while I am doing the conferences and meetups. What about
Yeah,
you,
that's
Natalia?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. I am also in a very customer facing position as an architect, and then you have to, and I can tell you that sometimes it's a lot scarier to be in front of, I don't know, a board of 20 business people that are there, not really confident about wanting to buy what you are going to sell them. And it's very important to have this confidence, to have spoken about certain technology in front of a larger crowd, a large technical crowd, and then you can go and learn how to communicate the same in a language that other people can also understand, that is not so technical, and it makes your vocabulary a lot broader, and it helps you really sometimes understand yourself what you're talking about, because I have learned so much just by investigating for a talk, right, for a presentation. it's
Yeah.
it's what really pushes you to dig deeper in the subject, because maybe you're going to come across a question, so you say like, yeah, I really should investigate a little bit more on this aspect or another, because for sure people are going to have questions. So it's really great, how it helps you on a daily basis, right?
I think I also wanted to add the amount of professionalism you get because you prepare it for a larger audience. And when you're preparing it for a larger audience, you tend to give the best what you can do. And that becomes even for the smaller, maybe conferences or maybe for smaller discussions. And that professionalism keeps going ahead and ahead. Yeah.
That's true. To be honest, there is no meeting I go to, even if it's with a couple of business representatives, where I don't take slides, because I am so used to
Yeah.
having support, like graphic support, and be really well prepared, and like sometimes rehearse even what I'm going to say because of the talks. So it's evidently it's a great help and a great aid, and a great tool set when you have done public speaking in your career. Yeah.
That's good. So there is a question from Bharti. How you improve your public speaking skills? So what advice you have?
I think
I'll
I
talk
have
a lot.
Yeah, yeah, Natalia, go ahead, go ahead.
No, 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 please. Don't worry.
So I have practiced a lot in front of mirrors, and I've always been, passionate towards going on the this floor or what is stage. So right from my childhood, I had done debates and all the
Oh,
things that keeps you motivated because I've rehearsed. Rehearsing is the best thing. So I've
yeah.
rehearsed so much, and I always wanted to go on the stage. So that kept on pulling me to go in front and do public speaking, and that's how addressing 400 to 500 people is easier because you've been following this for long. Yeah, Natalia was
Yeah.
saying something.
I want to say that I started doing public speaking back in school, like when I was, I don't know, 10 or 9, because I've always been very talkative. And then teachers were always telling me, like, okay, you go on stage and read this poem, you go on stage and, do this presentation of whatever we were doing. And yes, I think I have it a little bit imprinted in myself, in my personality. But then again, what I do also is I read a lot, because obviously English is not my language, my native language. So I read a lot of books. I read a lot of blog, or technology blogs like Santosh. I read a lot of Santosh on a daily basis, and other writers. And this helps you acquire more vocabulary and be more confident at expressing yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
thing which is like probably cherry on the cake is if you read something, you read it aloud. That gives you clarity. That gives you the clarity while you're speaking in front of the public, and it just gives you more confidence. So that's why while I was reading my books, I used to read it aloud, not just
Oh.
within myself or just whispering. So that is one hack, maybe.
Ah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
That's really great. I mean, the good thing about both of you, you started early, so you had more confidence. So Bharti, in case you are like me, I had never given a talk in like 31 or 32 years of my career, And first time I gave a talk was like in front of 300 people. So I was really scared. I can totally relate why you are asking this question, how you can improve. So and just to give you advice, go ahead and do your first talk. I'm sure there will be a lot of people who will help you. So in my case, the same thing happened, right? A lot of people came to me and then they gave me advices, and I worked. So it's not like you are going to do great at once, at even at first time, right? So you may lag. So you have to improve, and this is how it happens, right? It happens over the period of time, and always reach out for the help. This is what I will suggest, because I started really late. I started like 1 year ago. No, it's been two. Yeah, it's. I think it's yeah, 1 year ago. So it was last September. Achal, we were in
I remember.
NJ Sri Lanka. Yeah, so we were together in Sri Lanka. That was my first talk, and after that, I actually reached out to a lot of people. I met few at NG India like 2020, and also got some advice, right? So in case you are starting, just reach out for help. I mean, maybe share your, in case the recordings are available, right? It really helps. You can reach out to someone, maybe Natalia or Anchal, and you can just share, maybe ask them to share the feedback, how you can improve, where you are lagging.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. But I don't even consider myself like a professional speaker. Like there is always room for improvement. And one very important thing you say is like, don't be too hard on yourself. Like, just try, and then you'll get better in time. But I think that people appreciate that you are there trying to share what you know,
yeah,
and they are not going to judge you. And that's a good thing about the technical crowds. They are there for the technical content, so
yeah,
they're not going to be super hard on you if you are learning how to communicate it.
yeah.
But you have to do
Agreed.
it.
Agreed. So at least everyone speaks the same language, right? Code. So if you have some codes to show, everyone will appreciate you. Cool.
There has to be the first time in order to move to the second
Yep.
time. So
Agreed.
just go for it. Sooner the better. That's how
Yeah.
it is.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there is a question from Janvi. Janvi has this question. We do see many women in tech industry, but we see less in solution architect. Agreed, Janvi. Can you share what are some important things helped you to discuss your solution with the other architects? So
Um, I don't know. You want to answer? Anshal, I don't know if you are in a solution architect role. If you want to share your
No, I think you
experience.
go ahead because your role is a solution architect.
yeah.
I do take one of the roles which is part of the solution architect team. But go ahead. I'll just add if there's something that I need to add.
Well, I think it started about 3 years ago when I decided I wanted to change into this path, into being a solutions architect, and whenever I set my mind in something, and I have a goal, I really work for it, and I never stop until I get it. So I basically, what I did was starting to do or to take on tasks that were purely for architects. And well, I was very lucky because at the project I was, and the team I was super encouraged, and everyone helped me and supported me into getting there. And obviously at the beginning it's a little bit intimidating. You go to perhaps a meeting where there are architects that have been doing this for 20 years, and you feel obviously a bit intimidated. But it depends on the culture also, of the organization you are working at, right? And I was lucky that the company I work for really encouraged me and gave me all the tools to get to be a confident solution architect that can share her solutions with the rest without any problems and any lack of confidence. So yes, this has been my experience.
Oh, that's. What
So
about you, Anchal? I mean, you have been also doing the same. So
yeah, so my role is I'm a pre-sales specialist, and pre-sales specialist is more like you have to give the demos to the customer of the product that you are entitled to, which also involves designing the solution for their business use case. So yeah, a part of what Natalia does is also my role. And trust me, so the sales and pre-sales team that I am, there is no girl, there is no woman who's part of this team. So I can feel where this question comes for, and you just feel a little intimidated while you just enter into the role, and you feel that you are not part of this because you don't see that similar people around you. But I think you give yourself some time, 2 months, 3 months, get yourself involved. And just like Natalia said, I was also being supported by my peers, my seniors, my reporting managers. They've been very supportive. So that's how it is. Be first, be comfortable where you are. Start learning things. Start understanding the entire ecosystem before you start becoming hard on yourself. Start understanding the entire ecosystem, and then I think once you understand the ecosystem, the peer they'll help you to go ahead and how to work further. That's how I've done it.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
also I think it's very important to understand the difference between a software engineer and a solution architect, right? Because, for example, in my company, solutions architect, we really get our hands dirty. Like we do a lot of coding because that's
Mhm.
how we function. That's
Mm-hmm.
our dynamics. But sometimes the role of a solution architect is more on the marketing side, on the sales side, and but like Ashan said, you need to really understand the system. You need to really understand all the um, infrastructure and
Mm-hmm.
everything that is related to the product or to the project you are working on, and then that confidence comes alone, right?
Yeah.
You know your stuff. You know what you're gonna be talking about, and you'll overcome any obstacles, really.
That's good. So I'm not sure. So Janvi, so my new boss is Janvi. She was about to join. I think she's my boss. So we
Oh,
are talking to.
cool,
I think uh, if you
cool.
can confirm
I
Janvi. So yeah. So there is another question from Elise. Writing as well as improve speaking, I think makes the ideas more accurate. I think she's talking about, yes, right. So if you actually do writing as well as speaking, it will, of course, it will also increase. I think your ideas will be better, right? So I think she was just confirming the same. I thought that's a question. And we have Srasti in chat. I'm not sure what she is doing in chat. She was supposed to be here, right? I mean, she was supposed to be one of the panelists, but see what she is doing. uh,
So
I hate you,
Trusty, love
Srasti,
from
for
us.
doing.
No, I
No,
think
no.
I give love to love from our side.
Yeah, I mean, I hate you, Sresti, for this. I mean, you're supposed to be in the panel list, but you said you don't have time. Okay, but yeah, thanks for joining, anyways. Cool. So let's move on to our next question. I'm sure as women in tech, you may have faced some challenges. In case you have any stories to tell, how you actually overcame those challenges. So, yeah, please. I mean, anyone who wants to go ahead.
Natalia, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, of course there are challenges, but I think yeah, there are challenges in every industry. I think it has to do a little bit with imposter syndrome many times when you know you think, am I prepared for this? What if I make a mistake? I am responsible for for deciding on things that may impact at such a large scale. If I make a mistake, wow, everything can crash down. But then after a while you realize that yeah, the decisions are team made, and everything can be recovered, even a large system, an enterprise system. So you start being less afraid of making a mistake, and see mistakes as an opportunity to learn and to be more confident and more experienced in the future. But I cannot say, again, I cannot say I faced any gender related issues
Mm-hmm. Okay.
on my that was not part of my particular journey. um, mm, Maybe microaggressions, that's something that happens a lot here in Spain, for example, because of the culture,
Mm-hmm.
because of the Latino culture, and it's a little bit embedded in men, this subconscious bias, or this language that is perhaps perhaps not appropriate in a working environment. But I think this is something that particularly in the company I work for, we try to work together towards improving. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah,
has been basically my experience. I think the
that's good.
challenges come more from within myself than from
Mm-hmm.
the exterior work. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
In fact, I think like what Natalia said, 60% of is somewhat like my story as well. But the additional 40% is that it's not the gender bias, it's like unawareness. Because, and
Mm-hmm.
especially I'll probably talk about India, in fact, that if somebody is working in bank or if somebody is working in schools or colleges, it is well like, accepted because that is found in majority. But if somebody is like working in towards pre-sales or something like solution architect, that is not probably conventionally understood by the society. So it's the lack of awareness.
Oh.
So it's not about the gender; it's the lack of the awareness. So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
keep on doing, and I know wherever whichever friend I meet or family that I go, I try that in the most layman language. I explain what I am doing so that even it is a small contribution from my side that at least I make them realize that there is a profession which is beyond schools and the now if it is even tech, it is more on the coding side. So I
Yeah,
wanted them to understand that there are more organizations or there are more roles in the technical field as well. Yeah.
that's cool. So I have seen this trend, right? So I started like working in 2008, and I have worked with so many organizations. And at some places there was always whenever there used to be like, let's say for hiring, we have a women candidate, like, so there used to be some setback, like already like from your managers that look, we need someone who can work 12 hours, and just try to have more like men's, right, because they can actually stay late and stay overnight and do the work. So that's something which I used to hear. I'm glad to see that change. Now it's not like that. So I've seen at many workplaces it doesn't matter whether you are a boy or a girl. It's open for everyone. But yeah, good to see this change finally coming into picture. I will not name the organization where I had seen this just to make sure it doesn't becomes any issues. But yeah, that is something which I have noticed, and I wanted to just share probably.
No, I don't deny that there are organizations that really don't give women the flexibility necessary to balance motherhood, for example, or
Yeah,
their personal lives, which doesn't really always need to be being a mom. They can be whatever they want to
yeah,
be, but they need time for themselves, right? But I think these kind of toxic cultures, they do it only also to men, right?
yeah.
Not only to
Agreed.
women, because in the
Yeah,
end, if you are going to be working overnight and you are a man, that's also against your rights to have a
exactly.
work-life balance. But it's especially obviously harder for a mother, but I think for a father as well. So in the case of having children, and it's as hard for somebody who wants to, I don't know, pursue a hobby, like, I don't know, going to music class or whatever they want to do, whether they are men or women, if they don't have any ability to do so because they have to work overtime every day. So I think those are things that we as a collective, regardless of being men or being women, we need to work together towards achieving. Like, we are very involved, we are committed, we are engaged, but this is a job, and the job is for a certain amount of hours, and I'm going
Yeah,
to be healthier, and I'm going to be more motivated, and I'm going to do a far better job if I have energy, because I have time for myself, for whatever I want to spend that time in. And yeah, that's the thing. So men and women need to work together towards work life balance
yeah,
for everyone's sake, right?
yeah. Agreed.
Absolutely. In fact, I think it is not on the gender. It is about the organization that you work for.
Yeah,
So if the organization is employee centric, be it women, be it men, they'll take care of their employees. Like
Exactly.
BBC, the company that I'm working for, they make it a point that their employees are not being suffered. Like I was saying that I am the only girl who is working in the sales and the pre-sales team. So if they make it a point that I am giving them 100% productivity in terms of work, they make it a point that I am being made comfortable on the work, and also I am also given time for myself as well.
Yep.
So it's a bi-directional, it's a mutual thing that happens between the organization and the employee. If the organization takes care of you, you also takes care of the organization along with yourself. That's
exactly.
how it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely agreed. If you're happy, you're going to work a lot better and you're going to want to,
Absolutely.
go the extra mile for your client and for your company. However, if you feel exploited or if you don't feel respected, then it's not going to work in the long run.
You don't wish to work then. It's
Yeah.
it's more like you just want to complete those hours and move out.
And yeah,
Yeah,
and go home. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Yep. So one thing which I have seen over the years, right? Of course, there is more knowledge, or you can say more. I think discussion which is happening around this scenarios where, like, earlier we don't used to actually talk about sexual harassments and everything, right? Now it has become part of, like, your joining process. So you do talk about HRs actually give you idea about how this things works. You, what are the words you cannot use, and what are the words you should be careful while actually talking to your female employees or anyone, right? So it's not like gender specific, but these things are actually, I think, helping a lot, especially when it's corporate, right? And you cannot just speak your mind. It's like, of course, you have to be respectful to whom you're talking to. So I have seen in some, I have worked in an organization where there were managers who used to talk like anything. Like, I mean, they don't used to care about where they're talking or whom they're talking with. Like, so they will just say anything in front of anyone. But over the years, I have seen this good thing about this all the organization adopting this best policies and talking about sexual harassment. These words should not be talked about, or this is something which you should not share in meetings especially. So I think that's one good thing which is happening. What is your
I
view
think
here?
there's it's a decorum that we need to follow, and it's not just while you're talking to these females. It's also while you're talking to
Yeah,
anyone as an
anyone,
employee.
yeah,
You
exactly.
cannot say any bad word to a man just because he's a man and he's not a female. So formal, professionalism needs to be maintained. There's a certain decorum that needs to be maintained while you're working in corporate. Once you're off that life and you're just going maybe for beers, then it's okay. But while you're working, there is a way that you should follow as a decorum of the company. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes. It's important to keep professional and to keep respectful. And you said something like you cannot speak your mind. You can speak your mind, but always in a tone that is respectful and constructive to the rest of your colleagues, right? And that's what matters.
Yeah, agreed. So, yeah. So, last, as these questions, are you discussing about interview when interviewing, or what you cannot say no? So, last we are discussing about as so every new organization, right? So when you join, they have some processes. They give you some trainings that you should not be using such words, or you should be careful whenever you are interacting with any employee, and even outside, inside, doesn't matter. In case you are talking to an employee, you should be respectful and should not use any harsh words. So this is something which is improving over the years. I think it is making a lot of sense, because earlier there was no processes, right? I mean, I am sure 10 years ago there was nothing. So you got your offer letter, come to office and start working. That's it. Now actually organizations are investing a lot of things, a lot of time into their processes. Onboarding processes are set, so they give you all the idea about how this works, all the processes work. So that's a good thing. So let's move on to the next question, and this is I think this is a really important question for most of the new female employees. So what is one advice, or what are the maybe multiple advices, right, you want to give to new women in tech? So if you have to give.
Angel, please go first.
Yeah, Jill, please.
Okay. Like I started this career like very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing is for sure. be comfortable in your own skin and be very comfortable whatever you are. And if you want to improve, you have to accept all the odds. I remember while I was working on Java, I was afraid to switch to the other language or the other technologies, because I thought I was doing good in one language and I'm going to be very good for rest of my years. And I was forced actually to work on Angular. I was forced by my company. So while I started working on it, I was failing miserably, and I started feeling that maybe this is not the right thing for me. I should move back, and that's where those inferiority thing that comes into position, that okay, I might not do, I'm not good enough to do this. I think I'll just go back. That is where you have to be very confident, because failures will come even if I do whatever today. So accept those failures and move ahead and keep on learning. That is the mantra forever. Even if you are at 50, keep on learning, keep on accepting the failures and move on. Natalia?
That's cool.
Yeah, that's super important advice. Failing is part of learning and growing. And also, do not assume that it happens to you because you're a woman, because
Yeah.
our male colleagues, they go through the same. Like, everybody is trying and failing and trying again until you get better.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with gender. And don't let anybody tell you or convince you that you are less capable because of your gender, wh-
Yeah.
whatever it will be, or your identification with a gender. It has nothing to do with your technical abilities or your expertise. And I think it should also go to women that are like young and wondering if they have an opportunity and they have a room in technologies. Absolutely. And thanks to the many communities that work really hard towards it, I think we're getting better each day in terms of acceptance, in terms of diversity, and hopefully we'll get to a point where we don't have to have these talks anymore. They're just about people in tech. Uh, but the important thing is to try to follow, to do what
Yeah,
you like. If you like if you would like to work in technologies, go for it. It's an
absolutely.
amazing career.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, of course, you as Natalia and Anshul share, right? So you should not be scared. I think that is something which happens with everyone. It's not like you are a woman, so that's why you should be scared and to start or to try new things. In case you have anything, I've seen in case of Natalia and Achal, in both of the cases, right? Their organization actually helped them whenever they wanted to switch their careers. So I think a lot of organizations really want more people to come ahead and take new responsibility. It doesn't matter whether you are a male or female. It's, I think, a win-win situation for everyone. You can go ahead and interact and see if you can be better fit in other role. That's absolutely fine. Or you can just try learning new things. There are a lot of resources which are available. I think now this is not 19 like early 2000 where there was no internet in most of the places and you had to actually buy courses or books. Everything is available. You can always learn and see where you are lacking, right, or where you are getting failed. So that's
Absolutely.
important. Yeah.
This is one
Okay.
thing I want to really say, and because I got to see that thing in the very start, in the first year of my college. I remember there was this PDP lecturer. He told me that, Anchal, whenever in doubt, ask out.
Hmm.
Whenever you have this doubt, ask out. And this mantra has been my favorite, and it has been my savior forever. I mean, if it is a doubt about any question, about any technicalities, even about choosing which path to take, ask out to people who are approachable. Ask out to people, whoever is on the net, whatever, whoever you can speak to. Do ask out. Do not just keep it to yourself and just take decisions like that. Seek help, talk to people, talk to communities. Yeah,
Exactly, and there are so many communities out there that, of course, there are some that are not very healthy, but
I
you
think
you have
women tech
the
makers.
power. Yeah, well, women tech makers. um, you have the power to decide which communities you want to stick to. Like, I always say, for example, I am part of a community together with Santosh, which is in depth, and I really love it because people. I never felt like there was any difference whether I was a woman or I was a guy. Like it's an important, and those
Hmm.
are the communities you need to join
Join.
and to stay at. And it's super important that what you said about asking for help. It's expected. If you are a junior, if you're starting, it doesn't matter your age, you are entitled to ask for help and
Yeah.
entitled to ask questions, and that's totally fine. And I think there is no community, or there is no professional people in the world more keen and more happy to answer questions than the technical community. We love answering
Yeah.
questions. That's
Absolutely.
what we love, like solving problems. That's part of our work. So if you have a problem and you want to share it with somebody, for sure they're going to be more than happy to try to find a solution together with you.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I have received more answers on Twitter, I think, than anything. I mean, so Twitter and
Yeah,
as Natalia shared, right? So we are part of in-depth family as well. So where I have received so many answers. Whenever I have so many doubts, I keep asking. Right? It's not about whether you're junior or senior. Asking out is like one important. I think it is the most important thing which you have to learn as a developer, that you cannot learn any. I mean, you cannot know everything, right? And that's I mean expected. So
yeah.
you go ahead and ask.
I said it 2 days ago in another talk. Like, I am a solutions architect. It doesn't mean that I know everything. I will never ever know everything. Never,
Exactly.
because it's such a broad spectrum. Technology, even right now, web technologies are so diverse and huge, and it's impossible, really. So it's great to work together in teams and collaborate and bring your own um, worth and value, and at the same time ask for questions when you have them. So
Yeah, and on the same note, like Natalia has mentioned, so I do pre-sales for ThingWorks, which is PTC IoT product. And trust me, despite of being there for a year, there are so many questions that the customer asks and realize, oh, I need to go and check this out because I never knew
yeah,
that this question could be there and this functionality does exist or does not exist. So I think you get to understand more when the questions are there. Then is the real learning that comes into place.
Yeah, agreed.
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay, I think Janvi had another question. So beyond the culture in the organization, we have our own fears to do a role when you don't see a role model. Didn't you come across situation what you are sharing being judged? How you handle that?
absolutely, many times. Yeah, yes. You are questioned, but I think that's also part of how sharing your knowledge works, right? Because you are going to be challenged, and but again, if you're well prepared, if you did your work right, and you research and you experimented, you'll probably have most of the answers to a particular question on something you're presenting. And those you don't, you can always invite people to research together with you and to learn with you and to find that answer with you. But yes, of course, everybody is judged. I think it's part of the nature of humans to judge others. You just have to learn what you should take into consideration and what not. If they're judging you, or they are criticizing you constructively, you take that back with you and you try to improve. If they are trying to demoralize you, or they are trying to hurt you or harm you, ignore. That's
Yeah,
not important. That won't help you in any way.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and also like while I used to go for conferences, you do get questions or you get some different behavior from the people, but that's okay. If you're liking what you're doing and you're very confident about it and then you're very strong about what you're doing, just take that and leave whatever negatives is around. I mean, I've seen in one of the conference where it was a technical conference and the person is asking absolutely a contrasting question, so you very politely ask them, sir or ma'am, this is not what is supposed to be answered. I'll get back to you later. That is the best part. But take it in a very healthy way and very politely way. You don't have to be, again, hard on yourself and, getting the feeling
Yeah.
of being judged. If you are very passionate about what you're doing, just go ahead. That's it.
Yes, you can always tell them well, that question is out of scope. We can, if you want, talk after
Hmm.
this presentation is over, or there are ways to deflect, to deviate the attention. Just try not to ever, if you are doing public speaking and somebody attacks you personally while you're on stage, or if something goes wrong, and it has been for me that I had a demo not working or something, those kind of things happen, right?
Yeah.
You just try to keep calm and try to deviate the attention to the end of the talk, like, I'm going to be with you, I'm going to answer your questions. Right after the talk, we can meet, we can have, I don't know, a coffee and chat about it. And yes, and you're in control, especially if you're on stage, you're in control, and you have to exercise that control. You have to control the crowd, you have to persuade them to let you finish, and then maybe you'll have time to answer whatever other questions that are not related to what you're talking about, or whatever discrepancies or differences with your proposition, right? Or your way of
Hmm.
solving a problem.
Yeah.
But I think before we deliver something, it's very important that we are thoroughly prepared about it.
Yeah.
So if you've done your homework correct, then you don't need to worry, because you cannot, of course, know everything. So if you've done
Yeah.
your homework correctly, you're well prepared with whatever you have to deliver, then just go for it. In case you do not answer, just let them know that we'll get back to you. You can write us the email or whatever. But if you've done your homework, just be very confident and go for it. Don't
Yeah.
don't
Agreed.
don't be afraid of being judged.
Yeah. And there will be few people who are always troll, right? So they don't care about what you're sharing. They just want to actually make fun of you. Just ignore those people. So they
Ah,
are not
yeah.
worth. Yeah, so they are not worth giving your time. So just ignore them and move ahead. That's what I would suggest.
They're just
Yeah,
0.1% of the total
Actually,
thing, so they can be ignored.
yeah, exactly.
absolutely. Trolls will
So
troll.
yeah, trolls will troll. So there is a question. I think very legit question from Lars. What do you think about gender quota in companies or company boards, even in governments? So what's
Hmm.
your thought on this?
I do believe in positive discrimination, because I think that is the only way at some point to level things out. But I do also believe that there shouldn't be a concern, because women are as capable and as skilled
Yeah,
as anyone else. So if women are in those positions, it's because they deserve it, and we need
yeah,
to trust that. This is the important part. But I do think that historically men may have had more access because of social and other reasons, and sometimes at some point we are trying to change things for the better.
I mean, if you see the convention, we do see women less in the top management, but then you see examples like Suzanne, which is key. She's the YouTube CEO, and you see the live example, Vice President Kamala Harris. So that is something that which is reachable. So do not fear to dream, or do not fear to reach that goal. A. B is that we have to maintain that gender ratio in the company, so that we keep on motivating the women in tech or women wherever they. So I don't think so. It's just the tech.
yeah,
Everywhere it should be an equal proportionate, be it the corporate, be it in terms of paychecks, be it everywhere. So it should be an equal thing. It should not be just in tech. So it's important that we maintain the gender ratio. And I do see it. In fact, I do see now companies maintaining the gender ratio, and which should, but I've seen it in organizations, I mean, departments within one organization. But I think that should be mandate for the entire organization as a whole, and not just to a certain department. That needs to be done.
that's cool. I mean, Lars also mentioned about conferences as well, right? So I think this is something which I mentioned in the start, right? So there were conferences which were cancelled because there were not enough women speakers in the panel, so they had to actually cancel those conferences. I think you need to include women speakers for a reason, because I think if there are a lot of women, right, so who actually don't feel good about going into conferences where its lineup is entirely men, right? so they don't get comfortable. So in case you include few women speakers, they may actually get encouraged, and they may actually go to that conferences. I think that's one thing I have noticed. Maybe anyone can differ with that answer, probably, in case.
Yeah, I think it's a hard one, because obviously you want to give the chance to the people that are better at talking
Yeah,
about a topic, right? And that's how it should be. But because of the numbers still being much higher of men than women, if you
yeah,
don't, in a sense, try to proactively bring women speakers on stage, then it's going to get harder because
yeah,
of a simple maths problem, or a problem of numbers, and 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 that's the thing, the
yeah,
problem.
yep,
I think, she said, deserving needs to be there, but we also have to maintain that. See, we all, along the conferences and like to share the knowledge, but it also have the implications of motivating the audience. So for that, we
hmm,
need to maintain the gender ratio. That's what I think. Maybe Natalia could differ in opinion, but that's what I think. The best one should be there as panelist or as a
yeah,
speaker lineup, but if they're given a chance, because motivation needs to be spread across the community, then we should maintain the gender ratio. But now I also feel that women are also equally
actually,
deserving enough. So if the only thing is that they should be motivated enough to come up as a speaker, and they should be motivated enough to probably send a paper or call for papers. And if they are deserving enough, I'm sure that they'll be part of the speaker panelists, of course.
Absolutely, I think we're trying to make an effort to just normalize the fact that there should be women in the lineups.
yeah,
And once we accomplish that, I think it should be 50-50 everywhere, and that's it. There
why not?
shouldn't be a quota there. It just should be organic. It should
Yeah.
just be like that, because there are 50% women and men in tech that can apply to those call for papers, right?
That's cool. So I'll come. So I think this is the last question which I have. So we have already discussed that, and it came into a discussion as well that if you see in tech, right? So there are very few women's in the higher in the department, right? So if I talk about developers, the ratio has increased, but so what do you think, what industry needs to do to actually make sure more women join tech and they actually grow into their career, right? So that's, it's not like, I've seen a lot of women actually they leave the IT industry after they are married, or once they get kids, right? So what do you think industry needs to actually retain them and make sure that they grow as not their in personal life as well as the this professional life as well?
Okay.
I shall go ahead.
Yeah, I'll probably take it, on a personal experience and then explain. So while I got into this role, so this role involves a lot of traveling because I have to do customer meetings and I have to travel across. So there were, some issues from my family side that, Uncle, why do you want to do this? Why don't you just do a normal job? I said, I am passionate towards doing it and I'm gonna do it. So that's what I even mentioned earlier is the awareness needs to be done,
Hmm.
and that we can work, and that question, that will you be able to work for 12 hours, or as a woman, will you be able to travel to customer location? Of course we can, if you give us the comfort, if you give us the safety, why will we not do it? So that safety needs to come from the companies or the organization that you're working for. And if you are providing that, I think no one would step back from their roles
Hmm.
in despite being so passionate towards it. So that needs to be done by the companies and the industries.
Okay, that's really
Exactly.
good.
Again, I think it's the organizations, it's the companies that need to promote that sort of, in that sense, equality. Like women are just as capable of traveling, like she said, of going on site, of being 12 hours if necessary, and maybe the next day you're there 6, like, because it may happen, and but all with balance, right? All with a certain control. Not
Hmm.
every day, but not every day for anyone. Not for men, not for women.
Absolutely.
That's cool. One thing I've seen, right? So over the years, there are a few organizations who actually keep like they have special programs. I think I had seen last time from last my previous employer. So they had some program where actually they were inviting the women's, right, so who left their job just because they had kids and they wanted to focus more on family. So they invited them, and then they can interview, and they actually they can give them a role which they are comfortable with. I think this is something which is a really great step, because of course, as everyone, right, I mean, mostly it comes to women that they have to take care of their family once they have kids, so they have to spend a lot of time, make sure their kids grow, and then they can actually move on to the new role. So I think this is one good thing which I have seen coming from a lot of big organizations. So they are actually doing some things where women can come again and join the tech, or join the industry, and then they can start grow again, right? Because if you go for any job, they will say, okay, you didn't work for 4 years, okay, so I think maybe you are not suitable for this role. This happens.
I have a controversial opinion on that because as a mother in tech, I feel that it's not about the amount of time I spend with my children. It's the quality of the time I spend with my children, and it, by no means mothers that don't work maybe spend all that time in quality with their children. No, so every mother right now has the chance, or should have the chance to provide for their families just as men do, and realize themselves professionally. And certainly when children are growing, they also go to school and they also are busy, so you don't really need to quit your job unless you want, and it's a personal
Personal
choice, right?
choice.
So I think we can achieve that work-life balance, but again, we need to be supported by the organizations we work at and by our communities in general. That's
Absolutely.
more of also a government also support in schools, or all the infrastructure necessary to be mothers and be professionals at the same time.
So I think
Absolutely.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I think this is again comes to the answer which Archil said, right? So it needs to be actually, people needs to be educated that they can manage both. They don't have to actually leave their job. I think there are sufficient leaves provided by all the organization. I think 3 months, 6 months, so they can always go back and join the industry, right? So they need to understand that it's not like leave the organization and entirely take the leave for like 3 4 years. You can manage both. I think a lot of organization actually encourage that, right? So they don't care about maybe if you are doing your 8 hour work, they don't care about other things, right?
I think again, Santosh, it's more of a personal choice whether you want to start working in next 2 months, next 2 years, or whether you do not want to work at
Yeah,
all after. It's the personal choice, and they should not be questioned at the professional level. If any woman joins the office after 4 years, maybe after marriage, she shouldn't be asked what were you doing in those
yeah,
4 years. If she says that
Yeah.
yeah,
exactly.
she gave birth to a child, or she got married, and that's it. Her
Yeah,
professionalism or her competency should not be judged on the number of years she hasn't worked, or she was on her personal life. Absolutely, that should not be the case. So
And
it's a
agreed,
by the
agreed.
way,
personal.
the same opportunity should be given to men, because many men want to dedicate themselves to parenthood, and it's
Hmm.
perfectly valid as well. and
That's
and
good.
I know cases of women being the ones providing, and men staying home, and it's perfectly valid dynamics as well. So people should be given the chance to make that decision if they want to, but it shouldn't be conditioned
Yeah.
by anybody else.
Okay. Agreed, agreed. So I think there's a question from Vijay. So did you have a woman role model when you were growing up in tech? If there were none, was it like an impediment at any point? So.
I actually did not have any role model. I'm just following what I want to do. I'm just following my passion, and that's where I am today. So I've never followed somebody. It's just keeping me going. I see something and I find it interesting, and I'm following that path,
Oh,
and that
that's
is
Yeah.
good.
where I am today.
Yeah,
That's good.
I also don't have any women role
Hmm.
models back then. Right now, probably yes. And even when I joined the company I'm working at now for 7 years, I was the first front end developer, like woman front end
Oh,
developer, and for the next 2 years, I was the only woman front end developer. There were no other. Uh, so yes, this is something that is changing, and now I have a lot of women colleagues, and I'm super happy about.
that's cool. So I think Lars has this question in Denmark. I think there is less than 5 to 10% developer roles, and 5 to 10% in developer roles and software education. So Lars, are you referring to the percent of women developers in software education and development role, or you are in talking about in general? I think
I think he means
so,
women probably.
women. I think he means women. So I mean, so he has question. What it's like in your countries? So I'm not sure about India.
I
It's
don't know
less, that's what we
Uruguay.
can say.
Yeah, I don't know Uruguay, but I think Spain is around, yes, 10%, 10 to
Hmm.
14% top. But
Okay.
I know countries like, I don't know, Bulgaria and Croatia, they have up to
Hmm.
35. Romania, they have up to 40%. That's great. So
Wow.
that's really really great.
I'm sure in India it would be much more than 5 to 10%. What do you think, Kanchal?
Yeah, but not too much. Not,
Yeah, I
but yeah,
mean,
looking at the condition now in the next 3 4 years, I think of course we'll have a good maybe 2 digit, more than 2 digit percentage.
yeah. Yeah, so Janvi actually had this data. So in India, we do see around 25 to 30% at entry level. Crossing 10 years at mid career, we do see drop in that ratio. So one of the reason is, of course, what we discussed, right? So many women actually leave IT industry after getting married. I think there was some study few years ago where they actually gave some stats. So after like getting married and having child, a lot of women actually leave the career and they start just concentrate on their home. So that's where actually the numbers gets below what we expect, right? So okay, that's good to know. But yeah, we need to actually see increase in these numbers if we want to see like more women's in the up like in maybe higher in the ladder, right? So
Santosh, in fact, I think we will see. I don't think, I'm very sure we will see the kind of traction, the kind of awareness people have across now. We will definitely see a rise in the number of women working on and on tech and corporates.
that's cool. Let's see. Let's hope yeah, it happens. Okay, cool. So I think we are at the end of the session, and in case you have any questions, you can just ask. Meanwhile, so at the end, we actually give the chance to actually our speakers to promote anything. So in case you want to promote anything, you can go ahead. So Achal, you want to go first?
I don't have to promote anything personal. All I want to say is go ahead, do not define yourself into some role. Explore as much as you can. Explore what suits you. Maybe something which I am doing doesn't suit you. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. So just keep exploring, keep yourself comfortable, and do not stop because of the failures. Just keep on moving, keep on learning. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah, same for me. I don't know if I want to promote anything in particular. I just want to remind everyone that there are so many communities out there that they can reach out to, like women tech makers, but there are also other communities. If they don't feel comfortable in more diverse environments for one reason or another, they can always reach out to women focused communities and express their concerns, and we will do whatever is in our hands to try to educate them, to try to encourage them and motivate them to pursue a career in tech.
That's cool.
Yes,
So last as
definitely.
the
Yes, last.
okay.
I push her every day to
Mhm.
learn to code. Yeah, I think there is the future, and of course, if in the end she doesn't like it, no, I won't like put a gun in her head. But yes, I do recommend it.
I
Cool.
think I
What about you?
leave it to the choice when she would be capable enough of taking her own
Mhm.
decision. That's what I said. I just want people to explore, and similarly, if I'll have a daughter, I'll ask her to explore world and choose it herself. I can probably
Yeah.
guide, support wherever she wants, but the choice
Mhm.
needs to be entirely hers.
So I mean, my daughter is like if you ask her today what she wants to become, she will say maybe some superhero. Next day, she will be like, I want to be teacher. Next day, she will be like, I think I want to be a developer. Next day, so every day, like she comes with a new idea. She wants to
Let
But
it
be.
that's
If,
explore.
that's perfectly fine. I mean, I changed careers like 3 times. People are dynamic like that, and you can
ah,
certainly you have a long time to choose
mhm.
what you want to do and what
Yeah,
makes
And
you
that's
trust
good.
me,
happy.
I wanted to become a pilot.
Ah,
Imagine, I wanted to become a pilot when I was like young, and then I changed my passion towards Java, and then where I am now. So it's
mhm.
okay to keep on exploring different professions. It's absolutely okay.
It's cool. I mean, you both are not scared to actually experience. I'm really scared. I think this is something where I have to work a lot. I'm really scared to try different things. I have been like coding from like last 12 years, and I think when I went into the college, I had just one thing. I think I can only code. That's the only thing I can do, and that's what I'm doing till now. I love it, but maybe I think I should explore some few more things as well.
Santosh,
You
you're
do a
doing
good
good.
job.
That's what I'm saying. You're
Sorry.
doing a great job, in fact.
Exactly. You're doing a great
Yeah.
job, so you shouldn't stop if you really want to stay there. Just stay there.
Yeah, but I think that's one thing I hate, right? I mean, shouldn't be constant, right? I mean, you should try exploring new things. Maybe some passion. Maybe you are passionate towards something else. I wanted to learn guitar, and unfortunately, it didn't happen. So let's see.
I'm super obsessed with the universe right now. I'm like, I watch a lot of documentaries about the space universe and planets and the moon and everything. Maybe one day I'll change and be an astronomer.
And I
Cool.
keep on exploring on yoga, meditation, spirituality. I'm reading so many self-help books on spiritualities, and I'm so much
Mhm.
passionate about learning these things. Sometimes I just wonder I probably will leave everything and become a yogi in some Himalaya.
Don't do
So
that.
cool.
You see the two different extremes. One way I'm just going for conferences, doing public speaking and all of those things, and on the other side, I just want to keep calm,
Yeah.
go to Himalayas and become a
Oh
yogi.
my God.
Yes, this is something I want to clarify. This career, especially at a high level or a solutions architect level, it's a bit stressful. I won't deny that. There is stress because you're dealing with projects that sometimes cost a lot of
Mhm.
money. So
Uh-huh.
yes, everything needs to be perfect and turn out good. Um, so being a yogi after a few years, that could be bad.
Ah,
Yeah.
cool. I think Janvi has, you three are very humble. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for joining, Janvi. So thanks for
Thank
great
you.
feedback.
Yes, thank you.
So okay, so I think we are almost done. So I'll just so in case you want to reach out to Natalia and Achil, I'll just share the links in description later on. You can probably I'll share these Twitter links, and you can follow them on Twitter and LinkedIn. In case you have any questions related to anything, you can always reach out to Natalia and Achil. I've always seen them like helping new developers whenever we have some questions. So don't feel hesitated. Approach them if you want to. And yep.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So
Anytime.
thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot, Janvi and Achal, for joining us and like for giving your valuable time.
Thank you, Santosh.
Thanks, Santosh. And it was really nice meeting you, Natalia.
It's likewise. Angel.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
even we are meeting after a long time, so
Yeah, this is
virtually.
like a friend's talk, and those are the best talks when you're just like
Relax.
informally talking about technologies
Yeah, thank
and
you,
communities.
thank you for joining
Thank you,
us.
Lars, and thank you,
Yeah.
Lars, for always supporting it.
Actually, I have to send some gifts to Lars. Looks like at least for Christmas. So he has been supporting this Tech Talks a lot, and he has supported me as well from this beginning. So thanks for doing that, Lars. I think this is Thanksgiving week, so thanks a lot. I think you deserve that. Thank you.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on closing notes, so we have next week we are going to meet again next Friday, which is 4th of December, and we are going to have another guest, Wasim Chegam. I'm sure you most of you know him. So he's a developer advocate at Microsoft, and we will be talking about what is developer advocate? This is one role where I'm really interested about. In case you don't follow me on Twitter, you may have not seen my profile, but there is a line in my profile, future developer advocate, which I want to become. So we are going to learn from him what developer advocate does and what is that role. And in case you are interested, you can join us and ask questions to Asim. I think that will be
Wow, he's
really
amazing.
yeah.
Great,
Definitely.
great team. Yeah.
So yes, Achal, you were saying something.
No, I said I'll definitely join it. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Cool. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining us today. So see you next Friday, same time, 10 p.m. IST. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone.